everybody. We're going to get started now. Thank you for coming tonight. I'm Pam McCarthy. I work for the town. I'm the Economic Development Director and the acting town planner right now. And I just want to thank you for coming out. It's a little rainy tonight. This is being filmed tonight by SMAC. Rob Rotella from SMAC was nice enough to come and do that for us tonight. So it's not live. But if you know anybody that couldn't come tonight and wants to watch it, there'll be a link on the town website that people will be able to view it starting in the next day or two. So I'm just going to give you 2 minutes of a little bit of a background so you know what happened, why we're doing this, and then we'll hand it over to the town's consultants. They'll give a little bit of a more in-depth overview, and then you'll have the chance to ask whatever questions you still have after that. So this started back in December of 2015. The town belongs to Old Colony Planning Council, and they actually provided the opportunity for their member towns to band together and work on a municipal aggregation plan. So together we put out an RFP for an expert consultant, and we ended up hiring Colonial Power Group. The towns decided to do their own individual plans so that they can have different specifics for each community. So we worked with Colonial after that and came up with our own municipal aggregation plan. And that's what allows us to be able to go out to bid for electricity. And it was their Economic Development Committee at Old Colony Planning Council that initiated this, and I was on that committee, so that's how Stoughton got involved. We also, when we put together the plan, the town staff had some input, and then our Energy and Sustainability Committee actually had some input into that plan too. So we have two of the members here tonight, Nathan Cleveland and David Billow. So they have some insight into the plan too. Sorry, I'm sorry. Who am I missing? And Molly Cochran. Sorry about that, Molly. So I recommended, after we had the plan in place, that the select board vote to take part in this, and they did vote that they wanted to move forward with this, and we actually had to get this approved by town meeting, which we also did. Then in January 2018, we actually used the plan to go out to bid, and we only had a short program. We did it for 6 months back then, but in those 6 months, we saved about $650,000. Then, in order to utilize the plan a second time, because it had been a while, we needed to get it approved all over again. So the Department of Public Utilities needed to review everything, and we got their approval almost a year ago, I believe it was. So that put us in the position to be able to go out to bid again. So for months, I had actually been getting phone calls and emails and people coming into my office. They knew that the rates were supposed to spike quite a bit. It was all over the news that National Grid was going way up. And they asked if the town was going to do something again. So I actually reached out to Colonial Power Group and asked if they could take a look at the rates. And they recommended that we do go out to bid at the time. We had to do it by the end of October in order to be able to get something in place for this winter. So we were able to do it just in time. Colonial got a rate from Direct Energy, and the town manager, Mark Tisdale, signed an agreement. And we had Kathleen Stanley, who's an energy expert. She's right over here. She's working with the DPW on different things for the town. She had her input, and then I was part of this and Colonial. So between all of this, we were able to review it, and we knew that the agreement was actually going to provide a savings for the residents and the small businesses during the winter time. So tonight we have Mark Capadona and Denise Allard from Colonial Power Group. They're here. They're going to give you a few more details about our program. And then when they're done, you'll have the opportunity to ask whatever questions you want. In the future, if you have any more specific questions, or if you decided then maybe you wanted to opt out for some reason, you have their contact number in that fact sheet, and it's also in the mailing that you had gotten. And you can contact them directly. And I've worked with them for a while, and they're very responsive. So any questions that you have, they'll be able to answer. And then I'll have more information on the town website. If you just look under the front page, under Town News, you'll be able to find information on that. So we're going to turn it over now to Colonial Power Group, and then you can ask your questions. And I think they'll probably answer a lot of them, or if you looked at the fact sheet, a lot of the answers are in there. But they're working with I think you said 80 communities right now, so they're the experts on this, and they should be able to enlighten you as to what this is all about. Okay, thanks.
Good evening. My name is Mark Capadona with Colonial Power. We're here to talk to you tonight about the municipal aggregation program. This is the supply portion of your bill. This is the mailing you would have received just recently. And I want to state, though, this program is about choice, nothing but choice. Unfortunately, I'm going to get the hot button item out of the way. The only way the aggregation works is opt-out. And just let me explain right out of the gate. So if we said we're going to have people opt in, how would we know how many people was going to opt in or how much energy? How would we get a very tight price? So the only way to do this is in reverse. Everyone's in, and then if anyone wants to get out at any time, they can do so. The town has a contract that allows for full flexibility for the residential user. You can come in and you can go out without fee or penalty. So if you wanted to be in this winter and said, oh, at this time I'm gonna get out for whatever reason, you can do so. If you wanted to opt out before the program ever started, you sign the card, put it in the envelope, and get it back. Not a problem. You would never be enrolled in the program. Again, this is about choice. Just 2 weeks ago, the residents of Stoughton had no choice. They were looking down the barrel of 34-cent power with only shark-infested waters. And by that, I'm talking about third-party contracts. So this is nothing to do with Colonial. The Attorney General has said over the last 5 winters, third-party contracts have cost residential and commercial customers $426 million more than they would have otherwise paid on basic service. Not that there aren't deals out there, don't get me wrong. Just make sure you look at the fine print and you pay attention, because it's when the contract ends. This is where aggregation changes the game. You're going to sign a contract, third-party supply. It's their terms and conditions, when they want it to buy and what they're willing to serve you. Try to negotiate the rate. They won't do it. This is the town putting all of its residents and businesses together and going out to the marketplace and saying, if you want to serve our load, these are our terms and conditions that you need to serve these under. Free opt-out, free opt-in, so forth and so on. No fee and no penalty. So as you can see, it's a very different product than you'd find out there in the marketplace. I'm not saying that you wouldn't be able to find other deals in the marketplace, but this one is managed on behalf of you. The contract you're going to be signing with a third-party supply, is managed on behalf of them. Very, very different. Again, your choice. Nobody here is trying to hold anyone in this program. This program is nothing more than bringing choice in the electricity markets, and unfortunately by law, fortunate because it allows you to create a product that will bring you sharp pricing, very competitive pricing. Unfortunate because it makes you do something if you don't wish to participate. But overall, I can tell you the whole has worked out better for, we do this all the way across the state, from Pittsfield to Boston, and it has worked out for 80 communities across Massachusetts. So what does this mean for you? For you, on your bill, right now we're all National Grid customers. A single line item change, rather than it saying basic service if you decide to participate. Single line item change, it's going to say Direct Energy Stoughton Aggregation. There'll be no other change. So if you're participating in a program, whether that be, say if you were a low-income customer, budget billing, automatic withdrawal, or any of those things, say you had solar panels or any of those, all of that is a distribution company program and will stay in place. All of it works seamlessly. You don't have to worry about any of that. That will all stay in place for you. So there is no change there. You're going to pay one bill. National Grid will collect it. They'll take their portion of the bill, the transmission and distribution piece, and take the supply piece and send it to Direct Energy. So this program is truly about choice for you, which we didn't have prior to them creating this program. What does it require from you? Believe it or not, one of the few times, it doesn't require you to do anything if you wish to participate. So the rate for the town out of the gate is 26,230, which from a historic standpoint is high. But compared to basic service this coming winter, it's actually got almost a 8-cent savings, which normally is about 30%, almost 60% of your bill. But given where rates are today, the savings is substantial. But I still want to make sure that everyone understands it's still going to be expensive this winter. Electricity prices are high in ISO New England. They're going to continue to stay high for the foreseeable future. On your side, again, you don't need to do anything. You don't have to, if you wish to participate. If you don't, what if I decided, hey, I don't want the automatic savings? Let me take a half step back. That's the first leg. That's the first 4 months of the contract. The next, I think very wise by the city, the next 6 months, National Grid goes out twice a year. They procure energy. There's a winter rate and a summer rate. Normally, the winter rate is much higher than the summer rate, and they've split this for you in this contract. They decided to do 10 months, given the very high elevated price in the marketplace right now. Why buy long when everything is high? Why would we buy for 2-3 years when we're at historical high prices in the energy market? It makes perfect sense for suppliers to offer 3-year deals. For them, not for you, right? Because we're at historic highs. Not a great time to buy long. All of that to be said, the rate coming this, National Grid will change with their May meter reads in May 1st, and your rate would be 12.4. I'm not certain of where that price will be. National Grid has gone out and procured that, the first leg of that. They buy 2 tranches, one in September and another one for March. They ladder those 2 buys and create the price. I will tell you that their original buy in September was abysmal. And just a little more background on that. So everyone thinks, oh, National Grid is out there managing this for us. Unfortunately, National Grid is not managing procurement for you. If you're on National Grid's basic service, they're managing a process and only a process. They buy twice a year regardless of price. And 2 years ago, everyone would have bought for 5 years. We're at historic lows, $1.60 gas, very low electricity prices. What did National Grid buy for you? 12-month strip. By law, they have to. If you were in an aggregation at the time, you would have gone long. 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, as long as we could have gone. Now, just the opposite is happening. Very high prices. What did National Grid do? They bought 12 months. They did exactly what they're supposed to do by law. And they're going to continue to do that. That's why they get to buy 2 days a year. That's what they get to do. We get 210 trading days during the year. We can buy at any point for as long as we want or short as we want. We make sure that we're looking at the market and the curve to get exactly what's best for you, because the program's for you. So that's kind of the short on this, on what the town has tried to do on your behalf. What we're trying to do tonight is answer your questions so that you get the education, because I honestly believe tonight, once we explain, all the questions are going to be fantastic. More likely than not, people will leave here aggregation positive, because normally, when you get educated on aggregation and you see the benefits, you'll see why the town has done this on your behalf. So I want to open up the questioning, and I'll come around with the mic. It'll make it easier for you and me. But this way here, yep, I'll bring back the mic. Let's just slip out of here. Yes. Perfect. Here you go.
So, I don't. So I'm looking at my most recent National Grid bill, and of course, there are multiple lines. There's the customer charge, the distribution charge, transition, transmission, energy efficiency. Which line item are we talking about? Is it the distribution charge?
No, go down below, it's on supply. So, yeah, but just flip the bill. Go to the second page.
Basic, Okay, so basic service fixed. So for everybody and all the people watching on SMAC, it's on the second page of their bill, and it's the basic service fixed.
That is correct.
Okay.
That's the only line item that's going to change.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. More questions?
So you purchased for, you said 80 communities. Did they all get this rate?
So it's a market, right?
Yeah.
This is the only rate that happened that day, and the way the process actually works is we go out to bid in the morning. We say the final pricing is due at 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
At 12 o'clock, we put it in a format, and by 3 o'clock, the town has to make a decision.
Okay. So how does it, Constellation is offering a 17-cent rate.
Yes.
Good for 3 years. How do you buy for 80 communities, which has to be tens and tens of thousands of people, and not get a better rate than an individual deal with Constellation?
So in this time, Constellation has bought that energy maybe 3, 4, 5 months ago. So we have towns, town of Easton, they paid 10 cents because we bought that energy back in 2020. It's a market now, so it just depends when you buy the market, when you're buying into the market, and when you're not, and then for how long you're buying.
Okay. I mean, you say this is the first time we're getting choice, but we always had choice. We could have went with Constellation, any one of those other ones. It's just that we have to make a commitment for 3 years with those guys, and with you we don't.
That is correct. And some of those you don't have to make a commitment. You just need to read the fine print. I'm just telling you, this is not me. The Attorney General is telling you it's shark-infested waters. $426 million. And I'm certain to the fact for the next 6 months, well, until May, you're going to save money. I'm certain to the fact beginning in May, you're going to be giving back some of that savings. Certain to the fact.
Well, if they've offered you 17 cents,
yes,
right, so that's right off the bat 9 cents cheaper than the deal we have with the community.
Yes.
And then it's going to be 17 cents in the summer with Constellation, which is 5 cents more than yours. So I'm still up 4 cents.
For this year, that is correct, ma'am. 100%. That is correct. And then next winter, I couldn't tell you. The buy hasn't happened yet.
I just never see prices go down, so I'm afraid it'll be higher.
Well, it's hard to go up from here.
How would that Constellation give you that 17 cents guaranteed for 3 years if you're buying month to month or year to year? How do they guarantee the 17 cents and say you'll have it for the next 3 years?
Excellent question first. Excellent question, ma'am. So they're going out and buying a slug of power. I'm just going to give you an idea, maybe 10 megawatts. And they said, I'm going to market this. They're very good at what they do. And they're going to market that energy at 17.9. What they actually bought it at, what their margin is, I don't actually know. But they have purchased the energy, and they can afford to sell it to you at 17.9. They could have bought that energy. Let's just say they bought that energy and a client left. It's left over from 2 years ago, and they bought it at 10 cents. So it's marked up, 7 cents. It could be. They could have went out in the marketplace in 17.9, probably in March of 2022, we were around 17. Here you go, sir.
So you've already bought these summer rates for next summer? You've already bought those?
That is already locked in place.
I have Eversource. Is that a problem?
So right now, you being Eversource, you're going to want to stay with Eversource because their rate is slightly below this.
Yeah.
And opt in
In the
June when that comes. If Eversource's rate is actually above that. I mean, you know what I mean, above the 12, they have been lately.
Hi. So you're on the market day for day looking for the cheapest oil price. So in this whole month of the whole year of 2022 and even going into 2021, what's the lowest price per barrel that you were bidding on?
So we're into electricity, sir. Oil is a different commodity.
Yeah, but
and natural gas is the driver, not oil.
Oh, I thought, okay, because I was going to say oil. When I talked to the Mass Department of Public Utilities, they were saying about the oil. It's a crisis worldwide because of the Ukraine and the Russians, but oil right now is in the 80s a barrel. Okay, and back a few years we were up over 100 plus, and we never had electricity rates as high as they are today. But okay, so you're saying most of your stuff is coming by natural gas, but there's got to be still some oil-fired power plants out there.
Let me just sort of look at here. So it's an excellent question. 60% or so of our electricity in ISO New England is produced by combined cycle natural gas. Oil is a very small percentage as well as coal, and I'm saying a very small percentage in ISO New England. When we really burn that oil is during the winter time. So in the futures curve, it's really driven, the commodity that sets the mark is natural gas.
All right, right now, a kilowatt hour by National Grid is 43 cents a kilowatt hour.
For supply, it's 34, sir.
No, they told me 43. National Grid's going to be charging 43 cents a kilowatt hour to their customers. And you're down to 22 something, you said?
26 is going to be the
Yeah.
rate.
All right, and I think you said something in May, everything's going to drop
That is correct.
for National Grid too?
That is correct.
And yours is going to drop too, or it's going to stay the same because you're locked in a price?
It's going to drop. It's going to be 12.6.
Okay, and
Today, because of the change in season. That is correct. So the driver for all of us is January, February. That's the big driver for price.
okay, so I'm going to ask you another question here. Is you people bargain day for day on the market, and National Grid is doing all your billing,
Yes.
and they're supplying the pipelines, the transmission, all that stuff. So my way of looking at it, you could sell this for a lot less than what you're selling it, because your cost is down, and you're forced on the market trying to get the cheapest price for that day. I should think you'd be selling it for cheaper than what you are.
Excellent question. So National Grid is no longer in the generation business. National Grid is a poles and wires company. So all we're doing is putting electrons on the wires. No different than, I happen to be a little old, so if everyone remembers the split up of Marabel, and we could get, long distance carriers, think of it identical to that. We're just using their poles and wires. It's not any different. The energy that they put on at the 34 cents this winter is the same as the energy that we're putting on. It's not a different electron. It's the exact same electron. It's just at a better price. It has to do with when they bought the energy and for the term they bought it. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Chuck Collins. I'm on solar panels in my house. I got my bill today from National Grid, $14. Okay? But I'm also on Veridian, which is another company.
Third-party supply.
Right, exactly. So I pay a distribution fee to them based on how much the rate is, whatever they can buy gas from, or oil, whatever, however they charge their transmission lines and sell it to National Grid or to me. So my question is, why is the town going into this? Why not just have it to individual people to pick their own company that they want to buy electricity from? Okay? Huh? I know you can, but why is, I know they're offering, but we're offering for the town. Why not just, what is the town benefiting from this? That's my question. Okay.
That's it. Nope. Yep. Well, if I wouldn't mind taking a first crack. So I just want to say the town is bringing you again. This is a choice, and up to you whether you participate or not. Nobody is trying to hold you into this program. No, nothing. Nothing. No. So I'll equate this to trash pickup. You can go out privately and get trash pickup, and so can't you. And you can buy it on your own as well. Although individually, you're going to spend a lot more on it because you don't have the load for the trash pickup. They've been doing this for you for years. How much do they make on the trash pickup? Nothing. They don't make anything on this program because municipal officials are here to help you. That's what they're here to do. They're trying to help you. This program, though, you are not subject to it. If you wish to opt out, that is perfectly fine. They're not trying to hold you in the program. They just want to give you an option rather than taking basic service. And I can tell you historically, these programs have worked out better historically than whether it's basic service or third-party supply. Sir, I'm going to come right back to you, but you've asked a couple, so I'm just going to go over here. Oh, I'm sorry. Kathy, my apologies.
No problem. So I'm Kathy Stanley. I'm the energy manager for the town of Stoughton. I work with other municipalities in Massachusetts and in Rhode Island. I've been in the energy business for 35 years. I worked for utilities when we went through deregulation. I was there when they made these rules. I can answer a lot of these questions for you. I work for the town. I don't work for a broker. I don't work for a consultant. That's what I do. And I just want to mention a couple things. This town of Stoughton has a population of 28,950 people. 28,000 people are not going to go out and individually worry about where they're buying their electricity. Okay, that isn't going to happen. They're busy worrying about like making a living and taking care of their kids and paying their bills. So that's the reason why we don't let everybody just do their own thing, is because most of them really don't have the bandwidth to do that. With respect to this aggregation, I definitely was a big proponent of us getting into this aggregation, because National Grid is a utility and they have no control over the rules around how they can provide supply to you. That is a law provided by the Public Utility Commission, who says that they will buy their electricity supply on the open market for residential customers once every 6 months, forever, as a pass-through, the end. So every 6 months, they go out and they buy it and they pass it through to you. They don't mark it up, they don't make money, they don't care at all whether it's high or low or whatever it is. That's how we did regulation in the 90s for electricity. The PUC said then, in the rate case, you cannot gamble with the ratepayers' money, you cannot hedge that price. Same thing for natural gas. It's a pass-through. They don't care. That's why you can go out, you can get a supplier, you can get a competitive supplier. It's a free market. It's the Wild West out there. So yes, you can do whatever you want. There's choice. But the town has the opportunity to go out and hire a consultant to help us secure some longer-term pricing for you when prices are low, kind of like buying low in the stock market, sort of. Now, unfortunately, we didn't have an opportunity to lock in this price when it was 10 cents or 8 cents a year and a half ago. I don't know why, I wasn't here then, but I can tell you that we needed to do something to help these residential customers not pay 33 cents for their electricity. So what do? And I will get to you, I promise. What do? You stay short. The same thing we did in Katrina. You stay short. So we locked in a price for, what, 4 months here?
Yeah, 4 and 10.
Something to bring us under the 33 cents. We're down to 12 cents until November. What are we going to do as the town? In February, I'm going to be calling Denise and Mark and saying, what's the market look like? Because I'm looking for something under 12. How low can I go? Well, 60% of the electricity in New England is made from natural gas, 20% is made from nuclear, everything else is renewable, oil, I don't know, wood chips, whatever, right? But that's the bulk of it. So if natural gas is high, electricity is going to be high. I know that if I can get natural gas down to $6 a decatherm, $4 a decatherm, I'm probably going to be near the floor. So I'm going to tell Mark and Denise, okay, if it looks like we're closer to the floor, let's talk about getting a number that we can go out 2 years for. The 17 cents that Constellation is charging right now should be 8 or 7 for this aggregation in a year, if we get that opportunity. I don't know if we will or not. We have wars, we have craziness going on. We're going to have to see. We have policy and laws that are making natural gas very, very expensive for New Englanders. We have a lack of pipeline. We have policy that is saying we are not going to make changes to those laws. We have to see. But this is a market. And so we need to wait until we see an opportunity in that market, and that's my job, and that's Mark Tisdale's job, and that's Nathan's job, and that's everybody's job is together to say, well, what do you think? What do you think? Is it a good time to move? That's the plan is. So, yes, it's 26 cents. It's going to go to 12. Will that be more or less than National Grid for that time period? I don't know. You can opt in, opt out as you see fit, but the plan is to try and get a 3-year contract at 10 cents or less. And if we can get a 3-year contract at 10 cents or less, the utility, we know by law, will change every 6 months. It's going to go up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. We want to be stable. Grab that.
Absolutely.
My question is so where towns like Braintree and Taunton and I think Mansfield, right, they have their own plants. Yeah. Why isn't the town thinking about that type of a flow?
That is a 10-year, $50 million project.
More. So just so you know, you need to buy the infrastructure from National Grid to do that, and they'll make it cost uncompetitive.
That's a very, and if you can get state law to go, I mean, that's policy law written right there, like written. Yeah.
But gee, you know, from what I understand, the citizens of those towns are...
They do well because they are in a municipally owned electric cooperative. And the last one that was legalized was 50 years ago, or yeah, something like that. So that's why.
Got a question, sir? Yeah.
You say that there's no charge in opting in, opting out, and all that. So let's say, to go with you, I decide to opt out. Now I have to pick someone to opt into.
No. So hold on. So right now, the way it's going to work, if you don't do anything, you'd be with us. You sign the card that you received, you'd opt out. That means you'd stay with National Grid in their basic service. That's it.
Right.
Right.
So what I'm saying is, right now, I actually did, I believe, opt out when this started 2 years ago, which is going to bring up another discussion, but let's answer the question first.
Yes.
So let's say all right, I decide to opt out of National Grid. Do I have to go with you or Constellation, or can I pick Billy's Power Supply down the street?
So you could pick Billy's Power Supply as long as they were a registered supplier in Massachusetts. You could pick Billy's Power Supply. It's any option you want.
Okay. So, and I'm going to touch upon this real quickly, the opt-in, the power of choice. And what happens is we were forced to opt out. And to me, that is not a choice. And because if you read in your supplement that you handed out, your electricity is currently being supplied by National Grid unless you have switched to the supplier. No, that statement is not true. It's It
is. So you'll get this program. Just let me explain. Yeah. You'll be part of this program unless you happen to be like the gentleman in the back. He has Viridian. He won't get mailed this because he has a third-party supplier right now. I can't switch that customer. This program is for people on basic service. So anyone that's already made a choice, I can't change them. So National Grid is only going to give us people that are on basic service, the people that are on the 34-cent rate.
Okay. So the other thing, going to your website, that reading that, you actually take the cream of the crop. So if you have someone that's having a hard time paying their bill, you're going to kick them back to National Grid or whoever. You're going to get them out of your system, from what I understand.
No. So National Grid handles all disconnects. It has nothing to do with the supplier, right? Because National Grid is your distribution company. They have a system in place, and it's called POR, or Purchase of Receivables. So whether you pay your bill or not, the supplier gets paid, and you and I all pay for that. After a certain amount of time, National Grid does disconnect customers. It has nothing to do with the program. When the customer is disconnected, once they get reconnected, they go back to basic service. They could always opt right back into this program.
Okay. The other thing that I'm concerned about is the fees that are here. So those fees, you're saying, will not change as far as what they're charging by National Grid?
That is correct. So National Grid, their pricing is handled by the Department of Public Utilities. All of those charges up the top, all those transmission and distribution charges, you and I have no say about. It's a monopoly, and they have what they call a rate case. And then the Department of Public Utilities decides what they can charge. You and I have no control over that at all. More questions? Yes, sir.
What is Stoughton's? How many kilowatt hours is Stoughton going to use for all their facilities?
I have no idea, but I'd have to go look on my computer. I mean, I have that data in Mass Energy Insights. Stoughton is a green community. All of Stoughton's energy data is fed into a national state database called the Mass Energy Insight, and I could tell you that if I was in front of my computer.
Okay, no, that's everything. It's the water department, highway department, police, fire, schools.
No, it's broken out by all.
It's everybody.
It's a really wonderful piece of information, and it gives us a tremendous amount of power to make decisions for the town and to do things like that. But yeah, it gives us, it's a database, it gives us a breakout by account, by meter, if I need it, for gas and electric, and it's for every town building and school building.
Thank you.
Here you go.
Hi, Karen Clip, Precinct 8. As a town meeting rep, a number of years ago, we voted in to have a solar field built in the community. And we were going to get a break on it, and all our municipalities were going to come out of it. What's happened to that?
I have no idea. I started working here about almost a year ago. I am very concerned about being able to give the town renewable energy options, but I'm exploring net metering possibilities. There is a lot of solar energy that's been built in the state. There are many, many, many net metering agreements that have been signed by towns who have signed agreements for way more electricity than they actually need.
So to your knowledge, that solar field has not been built?
I don't know specifically what you're talking about, so.
We can get an answer for you right here from the Energy Committee. Yeah.
Nathan.
Yep.
Nathan Cleveland, I'm with the Energy Committee here in town. I believe the project that you're referring to is the Hexagon Energy solar field. That has been built. I believe that's operational. I haven't actually gone to see it yet, but it is up and running. It's generating power. Yeah, it's over by Prospect Street, I believe.
The residents were supposed to be given first dibs at buying into it. As a resident on 53 Pratt's Court, I have not received any kind of documentation. Has any other resident in town received any documentation so they could receive their solar power from that field?
So that opportunity to purchase power from the solar field was something that would be coordinated by the company that built it, Hexagon. I believe they started reaching out to the folks geographically closest to the site because they're the ones who are most impacted to the extent that there's an impact by that being built. I do not live in that area myself, so I did not receive anything. But my understanding is that they reached out to the folks in that area first, gave them an opportunity to enter into a long-term purchase agreement for the solar energy. But that's not something that I was involved in or the town directly was involved in.
So to your knowledge, this might be closed to the rest of the community? They don't have access to that solar energy at all?
So, again, this is not something that I was directly involved in, but my understanding is that the company had a certain amount of energy available, and I believe they offered it, and as soon as it was subscribed to, you know, as residents said, yes, I want to buy, they have less to offer, and then once they've essentially contracted for all that energy, there's nothing left to offer anybody else.
My question to you, ma'am, again, will there be another opportunity within the community coming up within the next 2 or 3 fiscal years to have more solar built in the community?
I don't know.
Okay.
Talk to the people who I work with and see. I mean, that's not something that the town does. We don't build solar arrays. So there's permitting for it and things of that nature, but I can't.
I'm only asking you that question because you're in the job. And I want a person in that job to know that question and that answer. Thank you.
I'll take that. Thank you.
Sorry. So just quickly, as the Energy Committee, we're also certainly very supportive of more solar. And as was the case with the previous development, a developer saw an opportunity. They approached the town. They approached us. We discussed it. We supported it. It passed at town meeting. It got built. If more of those opportunities present themselves, as long as it's reasonable, we're likely to support it. We'll work with the town. And there's also an opportunity for us to be more proactive if we wanted. But again, you have to have places to put this, and it has to make sense. But certainly something we'd love to look into.
I think there was a question behind me.
There was one here first. I don't know, one of... Yep.
John Feeney. I had an alert when I watched the 11 o'clock news one night recently, and I heard my electric bill is going to go up 60%. I've been paying a lot closer attention since then. Now, this meeting, I may have learned a few things that I certainly didn't know before this. That 60%, that's overall, right? That's not the supply itself, first off?
So the way it's a little bit tricky, sir, the way they announced that rate is off last winter's rate. It's a 60% increase.
On that?
From last winter to this winter, full bill. It's how they have the least amount of impact.
Okay, then let's give me a little more specific then.
Sure.
I'm with Provider Power.
I know.
I don't know where they came from. I was with Starflex or something before, and then all of a sudden this has come. Okay. So I'm paying 22 cents rounded off.
Yes.
Per kilowatt. You're talking about 17.
The city's rate is 26, sir.
So it's higher than me.
That is correct.
So I should just sit down and do nothing.
That is
all I'm
correct.
saying.
At least until
That's
May.
where I was going. Okay. That's why you got my attention when you said that I'm not National Grid as such. So as bad as it is, I'm in good shape.
That is correct.
Okay. You've answered
and
my
you did not get the mailing, correct?
No.
No. So he did not receive the mailing because he's on third-party supply. That's a different distribution company, and they have a different supply rate, sir. So their rate is 25 cents this winter from January 1 through June.
And we didn't mail to the there's about 75 Eversource folks in town, and the town made a decision not to mail because the rate right now and through the end of December for the Eversource is 17 plus. So the decision was made not to mail, and like Mark said, the winter rate, Jan 1, is going to go up. Folks from Eversource can certainly opt in if you want to, but we didn't mail the letter just to put you in knowing what the rate was Eversource was better. So if you are with Eversource, you should not have gotten a mailing.
Hey, Dave.
Right.
Dave Billow with the Energy and Sustainability Committee. Just to maybe continue on with people that are interested in more solar or renewable energy, which certainly we are, there's a way to get it here. It doesn't come from Stoughton, it'll come from other places, right? So maybe you could talk about how that works, and looks like it's a pretty good deal.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So not only is there a standard or an RPS, meaning it's a renewable portfolio standard, meets the minimum requirement, the city is also offering an attractive rate that has national wind recs for them. And just 1 second, I don't have it in memory here. So that rate is going to be 26,360, and that will have 46% more renewable energy on top of it, bringing you to 100%. Let me explain, I did a terrible job there. All of your basic service has 54% renewable energy now. in Massachusetts. So the town has gone out and bought renewable energy credits on top of that, bringing you to 100% renewable through National Wind RECs. That allows you to have a product that's simply, about 3 mils higher at very little cost. So on an average customer, that would be about $1.80 a month more if you use 600 kilowatts. Be a little bit more or less depending on what that is. To having a 100% renewable product. More questions? Yes.
Do I need this? You were saying you shop for rates all year long. So.
Well, I work very closely with our friends at Colonial.
Right.
They're very close to the market. That's what they do every
Well, that's the question is, you're looking for rates all year long. So.
have to wait for the contract to expire before we extend it.
Well, my question is, this 26 cents, if you're looking to buy power and you buy power all through the year, this 26 cents could come down next winter. So this 26 could be 20 cents next winter, as long as we stay with the town. All right.
Absolutely, yeah. So I just want you to know, we happened to get into the market. It was a small dip in the market, but at a historical high time, and that's why the town only did 10 months. That's why, just because where we are in the marketplace. We're talking about historic highs, and when I'm talking about historic highs, double the price that it's ever been any time in the past. The highest National Grid rate prior to now is 16.4 cents. You double that up, that's 32 cents a kilowatt hour. We're at 34 cents right now, 33,891. That's how devastating this market is.
Will you bought it at this price if that were to come down tomorrow, if you saw lower prices tomorrow? Could you opt out of that and buy those?
That's a fantastic question, but I want to answer this. There's a contract for the town that is 10 months long. So the town is locked in for the 10 months at the rates that you see. The individual customer has the ability to back and forth and back and forth. The town does not. But to your point, sir, let's just say they've solved Ukraine and for some reason power prices have all come way down. We could sign a contract tomorrow starting in November for 8-cent power for 36 months. It's a market, and we're using it to the fullest.
But once we ask our partners to lock this price in, they have to buy that. They have to hedge it. This company has to put money on the table to hedge that price for us. If we can't. One
little thing, not this company so much, but the Direct Energies of the world.
Exactly.
Okay, yeah, just wanted.
When I say you guys,
okay, I just want.
And our supplier, they engage for us. I mean, this is a business, right? I mean, they're going to find a supplier who's going to agree to give us a contract, and they're going to give us that number. Part of this job is to also make sure we're doing business with suppliers with, a good P&L who's going to be here in 12 months or 15 months or whatever. I mean, last thing, in this kind of crazy market, we need is someone who's going to be able to deliver that for us. They're going to file bankruptcy. We can't afford that. We have to only do business with premium suppliers, people who have been in the business for a long time, who have a good book, who have a good backroom operation, who know where they're going to get this electricity. They own generating assets. They're substantial. They have assets. That's part of this. So,
but you don't have a Better Business Bureau rating. Why is that?
This is way past Better Business Bureau.
Yeah,
this is not about commercial supplies. This is about major global energy.
And I just wanted to chime in for a minute. So Colonial are the consultants, but as far as Direct Energy, everything that we've done has gone through the Department of Public Utilities. I was getting emails multiple times a month whenever paperwork went somewhere to the state, Department of Energy Resources, Department of Public Utilities, even to the point when we signed our agreement in October, they had to review that before things could be final, before the mailing went out to all of you. So we have a lot of oversight over this company that we've made this agreement with.
This is a question.
It's actually a statement. First of all, thank you for giving us this option for the town, for all of us in town, really. Secondly, unfortunately, what happened was when it dipped, we weren't able to buy. You're buying now. It's still less than what National Grid wants to offer. And then we also have the opportunity, if we want to opt out at any time, if we find something less, we can do that. So until then, we could at least pay less than National Grid's offering us, correct? Okay? And then hopefully, in the meantime, I mean, we always think nothing goes down, everything goes up, but let's hope that something is going to go down, and we have the possibility of going down for next year, right?
Correct. Okay. And at these prices, I can't imagine prices don't come down a little bit, because who can afford these prices? Another question, sir. Yes.
To pick up on what Karen Clip was talking about, the solar fields. Okay, we have one on top of the old town dump. And at town meeting, this was never brought up. It's the people in the area were going to get the cheaper rate. But there's no residential area there. It's all commercial and industrial property. So my understanding was that was going to be generated through the whole town, all the ratepayers. Plus, Pam, did we ever complete the solar fields down the end of Campanelli Drive? That was acted on a couple of years back at town meeting?
Yeah, I'm not sure, but because there are a lot of questions about that tonight, I can talk to the town manager tomorrow, and we can maybe get the word out, find out what's actually happened, what the residents were offered, and we can ask the town manager to put some information out there. So hopefully we can answer those questions.
Because right now, we don't know if the ratepayers are getting anything from them solar fields.
So definitely we need to look into that and find out what the story is, and we can get that information out to you.
One more question, I'll be done. What's the lowest rate of percentage that you don't make money? Let's say it was only 2.5% of the town people going to opt into this for a break-even point.
I thought you said only one more question. Wait a second here. No, I'm only kidding. This is an excellent question. He's asking, at what is the break-even point? And here's the great news. If every single person in the town opted out of the program, there'd be no financial penalty. The risk is taken, financial risk is taken by Direct Energy. The town has no financial risk. So they have to stay in the contract. But if let's just say prices went to 1 cent for National Grid and everyone said, I'm getting out, and they should. Then went everyone back to National Grid's basic service. Penalties, 0.
Well, I'm for this because it's the way the prices are going, but also you have questions of the negativity side. And, you know, the town's going to be a big saver for them because they all these municipal billings, so they're the big winners in this, okay, which is fine. I'm taking a senior moment now. I forgot what the second part of the question was, but I'll let it go.
Okay.
If we went with the solar responsible one, you know, green energy, that based on 600 kilowatt hours, that'd be about $1.80 difference
per month.
Yeah, the two prices
very close.
They look fairly close. So
yes.
It's just like the regular standard price is 2,623, and the residential renewable price is 2,636.
It's about $1.60 or $1.80 a month, but very small.
So
take 600.
Really fair, and you want that renewable energy. More responsible.
That's correct.
But that renewable energy doesn't go down. The price of that would not drop down.
It most certainly would drop down.
Yeah.
In May, it would most certainly would drop down. And the rate is known. I apologize.
12,530.
12,530 is good. In May.
What's your question?
You're quick.
The price for the renewable and the
straight energy, if you would.
It's basically about the same price right now. But if the cost of natural gas and all that was down, it would be less. With a renewable, would stay the same, wouldn't it?
Actually, not really. And the reason is you're buying all the energy and just putting a renewable energy piece on top, right? So it's not actually a. Yeah.
Can we out of renewable if we go into it now because the price is so close? And there's a question.
Yes.
And then you'll tell us
Yep.
way later.
That's exactly. Let me just answer the question. You always have choice. You can go back and forth in between the program. And on the website, we're always going to tell you what the basic service rate is, what the town's rates are. This is a town program. We're not trying to hide anything from you. There's no small print.
I didn't know you could go back.
You most certainly can. On your meter read month to month. I saw a hand back here, ma'am. Yes. Yes. Not necessarily. Yeah, just talk.
After the 10 months, how will we be notified of the new rates? And when will we be notified, and how?
Yep.
Who will notify us?
The question is after the 10 months, how will we be notified and when will we be notified? The when is going to be very difficult for me because if I knew that, we would be having this meeting in the Caribbean. I just don't know when the markets are going to change. So when I can't speak to, but I know it will be prior to your November meter read because at that point the contract will end. How? I'm not certain exactly whether the last time we sent an individual mailing to each customer that's on the program, letting them know what the new rate would be. But I can certainly tell you that it would be on the town website. They'd push it out on Facebook and any of those tweets. We'd certainly have an article in the newspaper about the new rates. No one is trying to hide the rates. It's about bringing a choice to the consumer that you don't currently have. You make your choice whether you decide to participate or not. So, any more questions?
Oh. I think it's addressed to that young lady over there.
That's okay.
I think you said when the Department of Energy negotiates with the suppliers, they kind of help level things off, but they don't.
No,
whatever the utility pays for, you can't change that.
Go to market every 6 months.
All right. I guess I heard you wrong.
They do it with blatant disregard to market conditions. It's about timing for them. When we deregulated energy in New England, the department said, I remember I was working for the gas company, and they said, you cannot gamble with the ratepayers' money, you cannot hedge your price. You will go out to market every 6 months for residential, every 3 months for commercial. It doesn't matter what the market's doing. That's it. It's a pass-through. You'll make no money on it. You'll divest yourself of your generating assets, and that's it.
Okay. Thank you.
More questions?
Who is the market?
Good question.
Who is the electricity market? So in this scenario, I'm going to talk about the market being suppliers that are serving municipal aggregation. NextEra, Constellation, Direct Energy, Dynegy, a small firm called First Point out of Rhode Island. That is the current suppliers serving Massachusetts municipal aggregation.
So they don't be generating?
They don't even have to own the generators. They just have to be able to buy the future. They don't necessarily. So when you think about this, this is going to sound odd. But it's going. This transaction is not a physical transaction. This is a financial transaction. It has nothing to do with the electricity running through the wires. Yes, it does because it has to do with the price, but it doesn't have to do with the generation, so to speak.
So if you're really interested in learning more about energy, you're going to have to go to a couple websites. You're going to have to go to the Energy Information Administration. That's the energy, EIA, it's laughing at me, EIA.com, and you're going to look at energy pricing, and they break down all of the national information for you. Energy prices for natural gas, oil, renewables, for electricity, for residential markets, commercial, industrial. Nathan, take it away.
Oh.
No, I'm not trying to cut you off. I just want to get in line.
Okay, this gentleman had a question. I'll bring it right back to you, Nathan.
I think a lot of concern has to be with, over the past 5-8 years, Stoughton has notorious power outages that have lasted. And I think there's a lack of faith. And by switching, National Grid has always been there, so to speak. So you're saying they're going to distribute the power regardless?
They don't care who you buy your energy from. To them, they would just assume you went somewhere else and they don't have to worry about dealing with it. I mean, really.
They don't get beaten up on the 34-cent rate.
Once we deregulated energy in New England and we made it not part of the utility, then we said to National Grid and Eversource, you have investors that paid money to build these wires and poles. That's the only thing you're making money on. They don't care.
Yeah. So, Nathan Cleveland with the Energy Committee again. I just want to make a couple of general statements and sort of represent our perspective on the program. This is something that we've been advocating that the town participate in for a long time. Pam gave you the history at the outset. This is not something that's new to us or to the town. We think this is a good program. I'm really glad so many people came out tonight, and hopefully folks watch this when it's up online. A lot of good questions, important stuff to understand. But at the end of the day, you can see with the numbers, starting out, if you're a National Grid customer, you're going to come out ahead. And then when the new National Grid numbers come out, if they're better and you want to move, you've got the freedom to move. If they're not better, you're all set right where you are. And as we talked about with the solar numbers, it's very affordable to opt into that. You do have to make a choice to do that. You got to go to the website and say, yes, I want the 100% renewable option. That's something that I'll be doing. But that's a good way for you to individually say, I want to support renewable energy. Certainly something that has come up in multiple commenters tonight. So that's an easy way to do that through this program, but again, only if you want to. The last thing I'll say is that, generally speaking, these aggregation programs, like you've heard about, are designed with the town customer in mind. This isn't something where they're trying to hide information from you, and you have the flexibility to move in and out. So if you want to pay attention to the market, if you want to work with someone else, if you want to jump between National Grid and this program for as long as it's running, you'll have the flexibility to do that. But if, like me, you don't really want to spend a lot of time figuring out what market energy prices are and jumping around, this program will be managed on your behalf. And the goal of the program is to get the lowest possible price we can for the longest time period. So, with these high prices we have now, as you've heard, we did a 4-month buy and then another 6-month buy, and we're done. They'll be in the market looking for better pricing, and if they can get 10, 8, 7, whatever, starting December 1st of next year, they'll lock it in, and if you're in the program, smooth sailing. You just keep right rolling along. If you want to get back in, it doesn't cost you anything to get back in. And if the numbers go up and next winter National Grid is better, you can get right out. The goal here is let's get a stable price where someone is in the market on your behalf, no markups, no fees, no games, and you'll generally come out ahead. But you can opt out at any time with no penalty, and that's the best part for me. People like Mark and Kathy do all the homework.
Thank you very much. Yes?
I just wanted to know, what's the, I know people have said 3 years for a contract. Is there a time limit on contracts? Or?
Yes. The standard best practices says unless you're at the floor, 3 years. Now, I have towns I work for more than one town. I have a town that locked in at 8 cents for 5 years, 2 years ago. And that turned out to be a really good decision.
Yeah,
But
so
you
that's
don't-
what I was trying to find out.
But you don't get those kind of, that's when shale gas is flowing and we're seeing natural gas at under $3, and it's like, once natural gas comes under $3, it doesn't make sense to take it out of the ground anymore. So those are anomalies in the market. But if we were to see an anomaly like that, Mark would say to me, Kathy, don't you think? I'd call Mark,
Two things. So there's an issue with energy. It's a piece of energy. It's called capacity. Capacity auction is only out 3 years. That's normally where the buffer is. You certainly could buy energy on the curve out as far as 10 years if you wanted to, just so you know.
But I get my January bill. Do I see 26 cents
It's just.
Or will it say the higher 34 rating you get?
Let me explain, and that's a fantastic question. It dovetails. So in January, you're going to see something on your bill that your supplier is going to be switched. We all use energy first and then pay for it. So in January, you're still going to see that absolutely brutal 34-cent rate on your bill. But you're accruing from your meter read to your next meter read at the lower rate if you decide to stay in the program, sir, at the 26th. In February, after you've used that energy, you're going to see that rate on your bill. That is correct. From January, because you're paying your bill from January to your February meter read. I want to make sure that everyone gets this because it's a big point. We don't have smart meters in ISO New England. We don't have anything in Massachusetts. So the only time we can change your bill is on a meter read. And I don't know if you're like me, but the only time I'm actually paying attention to the bill is when I get the bill. What have my kids done here, right? Oh, geez. But that means I just had a meter read, and now I want to get out of whatever I'm in. So what do I do then? I then call, say I want to get out. But I can't remove you until the following meter read. And when do you see that on your bill? The following month. So all I'm trying to say is that's how the system works. It's not anyone trying to keep you in the program. It is functionally the only way the utilities can account for everyone correctly, is on your meter read. They have no idea when you use your energy, just what when they had your last meter read to your current meter read. Could have used it all in one day, could have used it in the last day. They have no idea.
Keeping in mind that your utility has 21 metering cycles in a given month. So this is not a simple thing, right, for them. Like, they're picking it all, it's all happening, but there's 21 different metering cycles with any given month for a utility.
What does that mean?
It means 21 different days that they have meters turning over month to month. Does not happen on the same day. It happens on day 1, 2, 3, 4.
Normally, in a city, you'll see 1 or 2, and I'm going to put Denise on the spot. I don't know if you know, Denise, if these are early or late.
There's a handful in Stoughton.
Okay.
It's not all on one day, like Kathy said. It's not all on one day in the month. There's a handful of different meter reads in Stoughton.
So it really depends. You look on your bill, and it says meter read. It tells you what cycle it is. And they go in order. Cycle 1 is early. Cycle 20 is late in the month, at the end of the month. They don't read on the weekends. So you have about 20 business days. This gentleman had a question.
The help is be patient on that. Yeah.
I don't need to. Why is renewable energy so expensive? Mr. Warren
So believe it or not, renewable energy is very expensive today. The goal is to support it. So I'm going to give you an idea. So actually, well, true, but we need to support it so the technology gets better. So I'm going to give you an idea. Actually, right now, renewable energy isn't bad. Solar energy is around $200 a megawatt hour, $220 a megawatt hour. What people are paying in National Grid is $340 a megawatt hour, or 34 cents. About 22 cents is what solar goes for. The contracts that we had for offshore wind were around $75. But right now, because of liquefied natural gas, prices in New England are crazy for the winter. I just don't want to start opening up another rat hole to go down here, but I'm saying to you, normally combined cycle natural gas is cheaper, and it is for 10 months of the year than renewables. Renewables are more expensive today, but the hope here is that over time, we'll drive those costs down. I'm hoping that there's a young gentleman or female that is at MIT that's going to change a battery, and that's going to change the game for renewables. Until we see the battery storage change, I think we have some difficult problems. And I'll say that's one of our biggest problems in ISO New England. We're doing a wonderful job getting more renewables, but we did a terrible handoff between what I'll call carbon and renewables. And we're in that in-between stage right now. I can tell you, probably by 30, 34, 30, 35, they're going to have tens of thousands of megawatts spinning out in southeastern Massachusetts in the ocean. That will solve a lot of problems from an energy standpoint. It is a long time.
When do they buy their electricity?
National Grid, very simple, they buy in September for a November stop.
Right.
And then they buy again in March for a May stop. But they buy 12-month strips, 50% of what they need. So 50% for 12 months, and then they ladder that buy on top of this buy, and that's their price. The meld of those two buys.
Really?
Yes.
When can you find out what that number is?
Which one? The one that's going to be in the summer? So we would know that. They go out the second Tuesday in March, and probably by the third week in March, I'll know what that rate is. And we will let the town know.
Oh, okay.
On the website, we don't put it up, just so you know. They won't put it up until approved by the Department of Public Utilities. In Stoughton, on the left-hand side, it's going to say basic service. You can click on that at any time. It's going to... Yeah, I believe it is. Yes, it is. So you can click on that, and then you can go right there. It'll take you right to their website and show you what their basic service rates are. Yes. Yes, sir.
I just have a question. It's great that the town is doing this, having new inputs. Is there any thought about doing with natural gas as well?
No, natural gas is non-transportable to the residential market. No.
The law doesn't allow for it. Unfortunately, it just doesn't allow for it right now.
Buy natural gas off a competitive supply contract if you're a commercial rate customer or an industrial. So the town does. The town buys natural gas for our accounts off a competitive supply.
So you missed one question. I'm surprised. No one asked me how we make money.
Oh, I want to know how you make money.
Okay, so our fee is known. It's right on, it will be right in that mailing. It's 0.001 or 1/10 of a penny. But normally when I'm in a form like this, everyone asks, well, how do you make money if you're not on the supply? So our fee is 0.001, 1/10 of the mil. We call it a mil in the business, times each kilowatt hour. Full disclosure.
So I just want to let everybody know that Colonial has been our consultant for 7 years. We only had a contract in place with the third-party supplier for 6 months out of those 7 years until this coming one. So that was the only time that they actually made any money from the town of Stoughton. So luckily they have 79 other communities that they're working with, but thank goodness that they re-signed to be our consultant. They had faith that we would actually take part in this program eventually, so I wanted to thank them for that.
Question came up. National Grid basic service customer did not get the mail. What should we do?
For two things. First, I would simply have you take a look, although you think you're not a third-party supply, take a look at that back page and make sure you're not with a third-party supply.
So look at your bill on the last page under supply, and look at as long as it should say that, it should, what should say?
Service, National Grid.
National
Grid. Yep.
If it doesn't, you can go to the town website. Do we have an aggregation link?
Just look at Town News and you will find all the links. But I just wanted to mention that in another case, I had somebody call me that did not get the mailing, and she found out that that was because she had put a block on her account so that she would not get any third-party offers, and that actually made it so that she did not get this mailing. So besides already having a third-party deal in place, it's if you had a block on your account. And if that's the case, but you do want to take part in this program, you can call Colonial and they can get you into it. Okay. So on the town's website, under Town News, is that...
You want me to give you my card so you know the name?
Yes, she ended up calling them to find out what had happened.
Oh, yep, absolutely. Oh.
Oh. Okay. So I'm glad that you figured it out and you got an answer.
So luckily I was on Facebook and I saw what was going on and contacted National Grid. First I contacted you and I advised that I had had a block, but I called National Grid earlier in the morning a couple of days ago. And they told me they removed the block, but that's why I didn't receive the mailing. You sent me all the information and then you copied it into both of you.
Yes, so everybody's working on it.
And then I got a confirmation
Oh, good.
A while ago, I got confirmation from the aggregation saying that they've seen it and.
All right, that's good. Yeah, so Colonial has been extremely responsive. So anything that comes up that you're not certain about or you have questions about, you can contact them directly or you can go through the town. But I also just wanted to mention two quick things. You do need to be beware of third-party suppliers that might come out now. I know that in the past, when we had a program in place, people came out of the woodwork and were telling people, we're working with the town. So it's Direct Energy that we have the agreement with, and it's the Stoughton Community Choice Power Supply Program. So if someone else approaches you, and you should either know this is not the case, or if you have a question about it, you can contact Colonial and find out what's going on, why somebody else has contacted you.
For National Grid, third week of March.
And just a note too on all of this interest on renewable and other resiliency issues. Our committee is awesome. Nathan and his group, they're the best. They will look into, we had butterfly garden, we had all kinds of stuff going on over there. I mean, like, they're really doing a great job. So take it up with them, go to one of the meetings, email Nathan, all of his contact information is on the Energy Committee, and we'll explore whatever it is that you have an interest in.
Yeah, I really appreciate the support that we've gotten from the Energy Committee. And also, you should appreciate that the interim town manager, Mark Tisdale, actually listened to me when I said in October, we need to do something now, and Colonial was able to help us go out to bid just in time. So because he was open to this, this is why we're able to save money throughout the winter months. And then also, I know a lot went back and forth on Facebook, and I understand people are trying to help each other to get information to each other, but a lot of the information wasn't accurate. So if you do have questions or you want to know exactly what the facts are, look at the town website or look at Colonial's website. That way you'll know that everything that you're learning is actually the case.
I had one more question here. Yeah. Oh, you had one first.
You said that if it's on Facebook, isn't it true?
Thank you, Peter. Hydroelectric Quebec, way back 30 years ago, they built this big hydroelectric plant, and it was supposed to take care of all of New England, but there's been a tie-up as far as running the high-tension lines through New Hampshire and that place. So I don't know if they completed that or it's still on hold, but if it is completed, would you consider buying electricity from there? Because that hydroelectric, to me, would be the cheapest electricity.
Of course, we'd be willing to buy from anyone that was willing to service, and we can meet the needs of the community. Absolutely. I would be excluded.
All right, so the transmission line was never completed.
It got started in Maine, and then they voted it down, so right now it's dead.
I'm a big fan of hydroelectric.
Yeah, no, it's renewable. So, last question, here we go.
Not a question, again, a comment, a clarification. A couple of years ago is when I put the blocks on my account, and I did it because at that time I was being bombarded by third-party suppliers. There are two different blocks. There's a supplier block, there's a marketing block. When I unblocked my account 2 days ago, I only removed the supplier block. So I will not be bombarded. I left the marketing block in place. And when I called to have my account unblocked, the next day I called back to make sure it was unblocked, and it was not. Yeah. So I had to talk to a second person. She was wonderful. Her name was Mason. She went into my account. She saw the notes that the previous gentleman wrote that he did try to unblock the account. It just maybe there was a glitch or something. She logged out of my account and back in 5 separate times to make sure it was unblocked. This morning, I went back in, talked to a customer rep. She went in and confirmed, so it is unblocked. So don't just rely on if you call once, because if that block is not removed, you will not be on the aggregation plan. So it's worth that second phone call to National Grid when you unblock your account, just to make sure it actually gets unblocked.
That's good advice. Thank you.
Great information, great information. Anyone else?
You don't know if the supply rates are going to go, I mean, the distribution rates are going to go up.
Distribution rates are always done through a rate case. There's a ton of information the utility has to provide for that. They're not usually not drastic. They might be small increases or decreases, but we know about those rate cases way ahead of time.
And there's one in right now for National Grid, and it's a, well, I say small, it's about a $60 million ask, but it's about a 79 cents to each individual residential ratepayer right now. They're looking to implement that for January 1. The impact to the average customer's bill would be 79 cents is what they say. Yes?
You might have answered this before. If you don't opt out, you go into it. If you want the renewable option.
Yes. You're going to need to go to the website, colonialpowergroup.com, go to opt-in, and then you're just going to choose the renewable price on the opt-in website.
So if you want renewable, you have to opt into that. If you don't want the renewable, you want the regular, you don't have to do anything.
That is a correct statement. You're welcome. Thank you. So that's to incentivize the use of solar and electric vehicles. All of these discounts, net metering deals, that is correct, sir. It's not free money from the utility you and I pay for. That is correct. That is correct. The people that take advantage of it, yes, they're getting the benefit. They get a rebate. Unfortunately, I can't debate that, but I'm saying to you, I think it might be a little bit more equitable. But again, we're trying to drive towards a renewable future, right? So the governments are saying we want to incentivize people to do these things. Use solar panels, use electric cars.
If I use an electric car, I'm going to pay for electric car fee. Doing my car, I still have to pay for it. Yes. And what happens with excise tax, not excise tax, gas tax, you're not paying that. You're going to be charged that.
Currently, no, they're not. No, and I don't disagree with you. No, I'm 100% behind you. I'm with you, but that's just not the way the current incentives work. You might want to run for the legislature. I'm not saying you're wrong. Just.
Well, I think we're wrapping up now. I just wanted to thank Mark and Denise for coming out tonight to meet with us, and also for Kathy for giving her input. So thank you very much.